What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of A Hero, the newest film from director Asghar Farhadi. Now, before we begin, if you like this channel, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like any of these videos, awesome, hit that like button, as well as comment below on any video that you watch, including this one. So A Hero is a new Iranian film that is about a character named Rahim who is basically in prison because he owes a lot of money to a debt collector. Apparently that's a thing that you can do. You can send people to jail. It doesn't happen in America, but it happens in other countries. Well, he gets a 2-day pass to go visit his family to kind of come out of jail, which doesn't happen in America, believe it or not. And in essence, the process of what happens is this lady finds a bag. He tries to use the gold coins that to maybe pay off his debt collectors and stuff like that. And he decides that he's going to concoct this little white lie, this little scheme about how he found this bag, and he returned it to the owner. Well, the thing is, it makes him famous, but in the process, people start questioning what is really happening here and whether what Rahim did was the truth, and it turns into a point where that little white lie turns it into something much, much bigger. So this is Farhadi's newest film. He is, of course, the director of A Separation, which won Best Foreign Language Film at the Academy Awards, so he's gained a little bit of clout since then. But like the movie The Salesman, Farhadi is a individual that really gets a good sense of realistic natured families, of realism in the world. You know, this story, like A Separation, like The Salesman, really deals with concepts that are very true to life in any culture or any place in the world. I mean, we in America have seen it where individuals have, said something and it's caused that little white lie to expand into something that's much more serious. And with a film like this, with an individual that owes money to a debt collector, that is allowed to get out of jail for a couple of days, that wants to get his life back on track because of everything that's happened, is a realistic approach to a movie. So going into a movie like this or Separation or The Salesman, you know that he's going to at least try to make it as realistic as possible. And those two films are very powerful moving films, The Salesman and The Separation. But with that said, when it came to A Hero, which is going to be on Amazon Prime Video, my honest and official opinion of the actual movie itself after watching it is I don't think it's as good as The Separation. I think it struggles under its own weight of trying to be too realistic sometimes, trying to be, too plot heavy and trying to create sympathy for a character that doesn't really have a lot of sympathy putting on him. I think there are some plot holes with the character development of certain characters. This is one individual who paid off his loans to the loan shark that is not trusting of him, who I think is a little too mean-spirited in a lot of aspects, even though it is unfortunately a little realistic. But I think some characters in here get a little short-shrifted. I think, they're the sister or, the family members are kind of put in the background a little bit. The brother-in-law or the, so on and so forth. He's like the other main character in the movie. He does a fine job, but there's points where they're talking to a job hunter, or they're talking to the newspaper people, and it gets a little kind of confusing as the story moves along. It gets a little rough around the edges where it just feels like every time that something happens, there's always a downfall to that point. And like I said, a little bit of plot hole issues in the movie itself. And with a film like this, even though it has its share of problems, I still think the film's fantastic. I still can overlook some of the plot holes and some of the issues with some of the characters, because it's an interesting story. It's an interesting idea and concept. It's a director that wants to make you feel something, and I think it 100% does. I think, like A Separation and The Salesman, this film really tries to get to the beating heart of what societal, classes are like when it comes to like people on the bottom and people on the top, how people view each other, how people react to one another when something goes wrong. I think all those approaches are absolutely done to perfection, and I can see why Farhadi is just one of the best directors working today, especially in this particular genre, because he's just so good at what he does. I just think there could be more to it. Like I said, it's hard to come from something like A Separation to something like this and expect to be the next greatest thing, because it just unfortunately is the nature of what happens. But I think overall, I think the acting is fantastic. I think the set pieces are great. I think the movie does a really nice job of giving you the looks and feels of this world. And I just think overall, it's just a movie that has a very interesting tale to tell that can be almost like a warning sign for anybody who has had this happen to them, may end up having this happen to them, and so on and so forth. So overall, I can definitely recommend this film, especially for the people that love The Separation. I think this is a worthy succession to that film. I think this is, leading into the same concepts. I just think the separation was done a little bit better. So anyways, with that said, that is my take on A Hero. Thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, if you've seen A Separation or The Salesman, let me know what you think of those movies. Are you looking forward to this movie? All that good stuff. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like any of the videos, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out. What's going on, everyone? And wait. Before we begin this intro, we have to do it. We have to go black and white for this review. There we go. We are now in black and white, just like the movie. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Movie Emporium's movie review of Belfast. This film is written and directed by Kenneth Branagh. Now, before we begin, if you like this channel, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find out what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit that like button as well as commenting below any video to watch, including this one. So set in 1969 during the Troubles, which was the riots of Northern Ireland, this story, Belfast, tells the story of a young character named Buddy, who's of course played by Jude Hill in his first role. He's a kid. He does kid things. He lives in Ireland in 1969 on a street where everybody knows your name. He has a ma and pa. Ma's played by Katarina Belfay, and of course the father is played by Jamie Dornan, in an actually competent role this time. He's a guy that has to go over to England because there's no jobs in Northern Ireland, so he has to constantly come back and forth, which brings a lot of, not really hostility, but brings up a lot of problems when it comes to the family and the dynamic and so on and so forth. But he also has a stable family unit. He has, like I said, his mother, his brother, he has grandparents who are played by Judi Dench and Syrian Hines, and he has some cousins who cause some, antics and whatnot. And it's really just about a kid growing up in a small suburb of Northern Ireland during a very tumultuous time, and what it's like for a kid to have to deal with that situation, as well as having parents, and how things are starting to change for this kid and his kind of, bubble that he's constantly being lived in. And so with that said, this movie is extremely simplistic. It's probably one of the most simplistic movies I've ever seen Kenneth Branagh do, and he's done some really crazy movies, but it's also a movie that you can tell is semi-autobiographical just by the way the people work in this town, the way they work in this village, the way the grandparents work, the parents work, and so on and so forth. So even though this movie is not 100% truth, there is some truth to probably some of the stuff he discovered growing up in this small block, which I'm sure is pretty similar to what he grew up in. And of course, he probably moved to England, so all this stuff is as well truthful as he can make it without being 100% to what he grew up with. And so if you didn't know, or if you did know, this film has been going through the film festival circuits. It won the top prize at Toronto Film Festival, which is a precursor a lot of times for, getting an Oscar nomination for Best Picture and so on and so forth. Nomadland won last year and so on and whatnot. But it's also a film that is squarely set on that Oscar win, that Oscar nomination, just from the way it's shot, just the fact that it's Kenneth Branagh, just kind of what it's going for. And so the question remains, and with all the positive buzz that it has been getting, are the critics right in their assumption of this being one of the best films of the year, with some of the great performances of the year? And all I can say from my point of view is 100% yes. And the reason I say that is the film is very simplistic in its nature. It's not overly complicated, but what this movie has and what makes it so good is the character dimensions, the actors playing these characters, the world that is being presented, which feels very authentic, very down to earth, very real, and somewhere you feel like you could live. This movie is very much an identity movie about, this boy who lives in this town who's going to have to move someday, and he'll always carry that world with him. And it's the same thing as like me coming from Ohio. I'll always carry that Ohio identity with me, just on the simple fact that it's where I'm from. They talk a lot about in this movie about, the people that you lose will always have that impartment or the kind of identity stuck upon you, and the grandparents and so on and so forth. So watching this movie, it just feels that authentic and real and, comforting in a lot of aspects. But when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of why this movie is successful, it is the performances. We'll start out with Jamie Dornan. Absolutely fantastic. Never thought that would happen, but I give him a lot of credit. Probably not going to get an Oscar nomination, but I still think he does a very fantastic job as a guy who's very conflicted with the issues that he's having with his wife, with his kids, having to constantly leave, having to deal with this not really great subplot that he has to deal with another individual, but he really feels like a true father. He feels like he would be somebody that you could grow up knowing and loving, and having them be there for you. He's not a guy he's a guy that's going to discipline you when you need to, but he's not going to not love you for who you are. And I think Jamie Dornan does a fantastic job. And then of course we have Ma, because these people don't actually have names, who's played by Katarina Belfay, and she does an absolutely incredibly Oscar-worthy job as a very conflicted woman who's trying to support her family while her husband's off doing what he needs to do to support the family. And to watch her kind of break sometimes and be strong-willed sometimes and deal with the kids and deal with the grandparents and deal with the nature of the riots that are going on. It's a pretty well-rounded, pretty amazing performance that Katarina Balfe, who is known for doing great performances, just delivers in spades. And there's just so much nuance to her character. It just really kind of delivers in every kind of facet that you would expect an Oscar-worthy performance to deliver. And then, of course, she's not even the best part about this movie. There's like 3 other people that are main characters in this movie that give even better performances. The 2 grandparents, Judi Dench. Judi Dench we already know she's going to give a great performance. She's Judi Dench. She's an individual that just knows no wrong when it comes to acting, so she gives an incredible performance. But the person, outside the other person I'm going to talk about in a second, that gives probably the most nuanced and deep performance is Ciarán Hinds' character. Ciarán Hinds is an individual who has always been around as one of those actors that's very competent in what he does, very good at what he does. But him playing this role, him almost being like a father figure to the young Jude Hill character, whose buddy, is something to behold. It's a pretty incredible performance. I would actually be remiss and kind of angry if he doesn't get an Oscar nomination, because his nuances and his like dark nature, but is also loving and caring and just being a typical grandfather who talks to his son, who talks to his grandkids, helps out his grandkids, helps out his son, whatever he can do to the eventual conclusion of his character, is just a mesmerizing performance. You can tell that Kenneth Branagh, at least I think from watching this movie, was really close to his grandfather, and it really shows that when he wrote the script, he gave a really important role to the grandfather, who is almost like the affecting character that affects Buddy for the rest of his life. And it's just a very powerhouse performance that is very well done, very well respected, and it's some of the best work I've ever seen Ciarán Hinds do, and it's incredible. But the honestly true star of this movie is the person that just completely envelops what this movie is, and that of course is Jude Hill as Buddy. Like I said, there is every once in a while a kid comes through and just gives a knockout performance. We saw it with Anna Paquin and so on and so forth. If he doesn't get an Oscar nomination for this role, I would actually be quite surprised, because he is doing some incredible work that seems like not many kids can do, which is give a honest, truthful portrayal of a kid in a situation doing kid things. And it's so mesmerizing to watch, so authentic to watch, that it is an incredibly dense, incredibly powerful, incredibly deep performance that is still naturalistic and simplistic on the surface. There are so many layers to this character, so many layers to what he's having to do, that it just kind of completely just kind of washes you over in just how sentimental it is to be a kid doing kid things, but having to deal with the turmoil of just growing up and having a love in your life. This young girl who he's probably never going to marry, even though he's like, I am going to marry her one day. And all the parents are like, oh, I'm sure you are, blah, blah, blah. It's cute and funny and stuff like that. But he's funny in the movie. He's enjoyable in the movie. And it's just an amazing performance. And like I said, he's very much feels like a surrogate to Kenneth Branagh himself, because he loves the cinema. There's points where they go to the cinema, and the cinema film, because this movie's in black and white, when you're watching movies, it's all in color, because it's like viewing a different world, viewing imaginative world, and you can see the imaginative style and whatnot he has to deal with, and the way he's kind of manipulated in a lot of ways, but how he has to interact with his parents and stuff like that. It's a really impressive performance. It's one of the best of the year, I honestly think. So, but on top of that, the music's fantastic, as it always is. It has very 60s music, a little current situation music. There's some jazz and stuff like that. The cinematography is as good as what you saw in Mank last year. It's working with black and white and lighting and stuff like that, it really makes it pop and more unique in its visual style and whatnot. And the fact that it's set on a street, and the fact that for some reason Kenneth Branagh likes to shoot up close with people people, so they're like real up in your face, makes it real kind of personal in a lot of aspects. And the way he shoots from the ground up, like a kid looking up at like the preacher and stuff like that, and how he's giving us views of like Catholicism and Protestantism and stuff like that. It's just a very well shot movie in the aspect. So this movie has everything in line with the stars to get gold when it comes to Oscar time, and it really deserves it in all the aspects. Is it the best film of the year? It's one of them, to be fairly honest. Will it deliver on the Oscar gold? That remains to be seen on where it all goes, but it's definitely worth at least a few Academy Award nominations in its own right, and probably one of the best Kenneth Branagh films I've seen in quite a while, outside of his like major productions he's done. So with that said, that is gonna be my take on Belfast. Thank you so much for watching. In the comments below, are you interested in this movie? Have you ever heard of this movie? Are you looking forward to this movie? All that good stuff. Anyways, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like any of these videos, awesome, hit that like button, and as always, we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to Movie Emporium's Netflix original review of Tick, Tick, Boom. This is a story that was created by Jonathan Larson and is directed by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Now, before we begin, if you like this channel, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like any of these videos, awesome, hit that like button, as well as commenting below any video to watch, including this one. So Tick, Tick, Boom is a semi-autobiographical story that is about Jonathan Larson himself. He actually created this musical as well as it got turned into a three-man musical itself, and basically focuses on a character named John. It's basically Jonathan Larson himself, and in essence, it's his view about what it was like to be a struggling artist, what it takes to make something truly special, to find that voice, how it affects your fans and friends and family, and what does that do on the psyche of an individual who is trying their best to be something that they are not getting to. And on top of that, he wanted to do it before he was 30 because of the whole Stephen Sondheim creating something before he was 27. And it's in essence a musical story about Jonathan Larson's life up to the point where he created Rent and unfortunately passed away the day Rent started to premiere on a workshop. And so with the story in a musical like Tick, Tick, Boom, I'm going to be fairly honest, I really didn't know much about the story. I knew there was a thing called Tick, Tick, Boom, and it was on Broadway in the US circuit, and it had some popularity, but I didn't know it was a Jonathan Larson thing. I only thought he created Rent, and that of course is very influential and one of my favorite musicals of all time, but I didn't know he created something that was about the struggling artist, about an individual who goes through a lot of pain. So when I started hearing about this, I became really intrigued. I love what Jonathan Larson did as a composer, the fact that he could have lived for for everything, and unfortunately had this thing happen to him is really sad. But I also started hearing some really positive buzz about this, with Lin-Manuel Miranda's direction, who's very inspired, I'm assuming, by Jonathan Larson. I heard that the acting in this is incredible. I heard the music was great. That it's kind of a collaboration of 4 different versions of this musical, and I just heard everything was great about this, and that really makes me intrigued. I love great musicals. I think they're some of the most best storytelling stuff in the world, and I was just anticipating this coming on Netflix. I had no way of watching it until it arrived on Netflix itself. And so the question honestly remains, and the one you guys are all asking, is how's this film? Did I like it or did I not like it? How's the direction, acting, and storytelling? I'm here to say this is one of my favorite movies of the year. The more and more I think about this, the more and more I love it. It's a fact that it's a musical that I never heard of before, truly, honestly, that completely caught me off guard and completely caught me by surprise. It's a movie with great portrayals, great acting. It's a movie about the soul-sucking nature of what it's like to be an artist and how you have to put everything of your soul and your heart and your livelihood into something that may never succeed, and how hard that is, and how rewarding it is, and how people who are around you may not see that passion, but he kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and Lin-Manuel Miranda's direction and the story itself really shows you that in spades, and it's an absolutely fantastic look into that culture. And I just found myself falling in love with it every second I watch this movie, because it's so reminiscent and echoes so much of Rent that it feels like a precursor to Rent. And there's so many moments in this movie where it actually echoes portions that you see in Rent. Like, for instance, there's like things that Andrew Garfield does, his character of Jonathan Larson does, or things he interacts with, or the way his world works, where it's slowly you can start seeing characters and individuals who will fit in that influential musical, and you'll hear like tones and keys when he's playing on the piano, and you'll see like situations, for instance, with his friend who's played by Jesus, who's a gay individual who has AIDS, and you see his kind of influences with like Benny and of course Angel in the Rent play. You see kind of moments with, like, for instance, his girlfriend, who's played by Alexandra Shipp, who feels very much like Mimi in a lot of aspects. And there's just a lot of that just really makes this musical stand out. It's very nostalgic in a lot of aspects for that particular reason, where it's 100% truthful that a lot of these characters either existed or are based on characters or people he knew, and that's how he influenced himself, is really telling and really showing, but it really gives you a sense of, like, how his view and how his world worked and how he kind of collected himself when he made these types of things. But it's just a powerful story that I found very, very, very riveting, and I found the music very well paced and well put together. I like how this musical kind of runs. It's very similar to Rent or, you know, Book of Mormon or something like that, where these stories and these music, when the music starts popping up and the songs start popping up, you'll have like the action set pieces or the scenes and so on and so forth, and all of a sudden, for instance, Andrew Garfield will just start coming in and start singing a song, or he'll be at a piano, he'll just start singing a song, and it just flows in naturally and then flows out naturally, and it really works. And it's actually one of the most compelling things about this movie is just how flowing and free flowing the music is, and how it just kind of comes and goes. And that's what makes a musical so great, is you can have those situations where, you know, individuals will just be talking and all of a sudden they'll just go into song, and the song will be, you know, a life lesson or what is the situation that is at hand. They'll do, you know, for instance, there's a part where Vanessa Hudgens and Andrew Garfield start singing a song, and there's a point where Alexander Shipp and Andrew Garfield are fighting, and the song really plays well with the underlying situation all that's going on in this movie, and that's what this movie just does so well. And what makes it truly and honestly work is Lin-Manuel Miranda's direction. This guy has true talent. This guy is one of the greatest that will ever run when it comes to musicals, when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to direction. His depth of how he films things, how he brings in characters and brings out characters, how he just shoots things. It's very natural. It feels like a musical, but it also feels like a movie. It's just, the guy has one of those eyes that is just so compelling to watch, and when you see how he plays it on the screen, how he positions all the characters and stuff like that, it's just absolutely fantastic to watch. It really is. It's one of those things that I hope and I pray that he does, that where he starts directing more and more stuff, that he gets better and better and better at what he does, because if this is a starting point, I can't wait to see what he does down the road. If he does another musical or he does drama or comedy, he's an absolute talent when it comes to creating in any form or aspect. So I like I said, you can definitely tell he's inspired by Jonathan Larson when he creates this movie. And then on top of that, he's able to pull in talent from people he knows and the people that were in Rent and everything that Jonathan Larson did. So we see Philippa Sue and Adam Pascal, and, you know, Bernadette Peters pops up in here as a really fun role, and all these characters that you know and love, you know, that have shown up in all these types of musicals throughout the years are fantastic, and they don't feel out of place. It's not stupidly done, and it just shows the talent of how you can bring in these characters as a nostalgia point and just have fun with it and just make it very honoring an individual that was very inspiring for a lot of people. So, and like I said, the acting is absolutely incredible. You know, Andrew Garfield is playing Jonathan Larson, and Andrew Garfield's amazing in everything he does at this point. He is playing older than type, because Jonathan Larson in this particular era was only 29. I think he was turning 30. But you really get the plights, you really get the sense of the struggles that he's going through. Andrew Garfield just knocks it out of the park. His voice is beautiful. The guy is just talented in whatever he does, and he shows it on the screen. He shows his struggles, his passions, his, love for his family, his love for his friends, and, it really is an honorable tribute to the man that created Rent and the man who created basically a culture that was very underutilized and underrepresented, and just, Andrew Garfield does spectacularly in the movie. And then on top of that, Alexandra Shipp's fantastic in the small amount of stuff she's in this movie. She really shows you the heart and kind of the, struggles of who Jonathan Larson was as his girlfriend and stuff like that, and how she needs to do something better. And then, like I said, you have Robin Day as Zeus in this movie, who's absolutely fantastic. Got nominated for a Tony for In the Heights and stuff like that. I think that's, you know, a character that is very well represented, is very well positioned and written, and is very much an inspiration for who Jonathan Larson kind of hung around, and, you know, the people he cared about. And he was very much an open individual who brought in everybody, didn't matter race, creed, sexuality, and so on and so forth. He was just a very honestly open individual that really tried to make the world a better place, and he honestly did with Rent. He really did. So I love what Robin De Jesus does in this movie. Fantastic, and he plays well off of Andrew Garfield. And if I had like one particular problem with this movie, it's the use of Vanessa Hudgens, who is a fantastic actress in her own right. She's really come into her own as somebody who's kind of broken out of that teen bop scene with, you know, people like Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart and so on and so forth, Zac Efron. And she's barely used in this movie. I know she's being inspired by, you know, some of the characters in Rent, but I would have liked to see more of her. I would have liked to see her get more depth and more, you know, dialogue and use. It just feels like she's just kind of there as somebody Jonathan Larson used as an actor, an actress in his Suburbia thing that he did. And I don't know. I felt like she was underutilized in the movie, and for somebody as big a talent as she is, I think they could have done more with her in this movie. But in the end, it is what it is. There's not much I can do about it. But that's kind of a nitpick that I have with Lin-Manuel Miranda and the storytelling, because they did switch some stuff around and they changed some music out and so on and so forth, which is what kind of happens when you do movie musicals. But I just wish she could have been used more. But other than that, like I said, this is a fantastic portrayal of Jonathan Larson. This is a fantastic musical. One of the best of the year. It's a movie that has a lot of heart, a lot of passion, and really shows you the depths of what it's like for an individual to really drive and strive and struggle and just do everything in his power to become the best, and that's what he ended up becoming. So but other than that, that is going to be my take on Tick Tick Boom. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below, let me know what you think of the musical. If you have seen it, what do you think of this movie compared to the musical? What is your overall thoughts? If not, are you interested in seeing this? All that good stuff. But otherwise, if you like what you see in this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like any of these videos, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out. What's going on, everyone? Wait. This is a black and white film. Of course we have to film this in black and white. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Movie Emporium's movie review of The Tragedy of Macbeth. This film, of course, is directed by Joel Cohen. Now, of course, if you like this video, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at top to find what's coming next. If you like any of these videos, awesome. Hit that like button, as well as comment below any video to watch, including this one. So, of course, The Tragedy of Macbeth is a retelling of the famous William Shakespeare play. It tells the story of a royal in Scotland who, in essence, is told by three witches, believe it or not, that he is going to become the King of Scotland. Well, because of his arrogance, he kills the current King of Scotland, which causes a ripple effect down throughout the Scotland with the son of the King of Scotland, with Lady Macbeth, who's his wife, who starts going down a dark path, and in essence is a faithful adaptation of that story about the fall of Macbeth himself, who of course is played by Denzel Washington. Lady Macbeth, of course, is played by Frances McDormand, and it's, like I said, a faithful adaptation of the story. And with that said, you know, this is very much up, you know, a Coen brothers alley. You know, the fact that Ethan Coen didn't come in to work with Joel Coen is a little different, but this is very much what they are known for. They're known for taking adaptations or going very interesting routes. They have a love for this knack of theater, which all their movies could be theatrical plays if you really think about it. So when it was announced that Joel Coen was going to do Macbeth, it wasn't really that surprising. He was bringing his wife, Frances McDormand. They brought in Denzel Washington, who's a big into theater. He's done a lot of theatrical plays and movies and stuff like that based off theatrical plays. And the idea of shooting this black and white, it had him having very minimal sets and stuff like that, really felt like a interesting way to tell this story, you know, try to be more like the Broadway play and stuff like that. So with that said, this is being getting a lot of critical acclaim, especially for Denzel Washington, especially for Frances McDormand, as they always do. Harry Melling, and of course Brendan Gleeson played Duncan, and he plays Duncan's son. And then you bring in people like Corey Hawkins and so on and so forth. So this felt like they were attempting to do something really interesting, but keep it as faithful as possible. And so the question always remains is, how does this movie stick on the faithfulness of Macbeth? How does it work as a Coen Brothers movie? How does it just work overall? And I will say this, This movie is not going to be for everyone because of the faithfulness of the play itself being turned into a movie. It's a movie where if you truly love Macbeth and you truly love William Shakespeare, this movie will, you'll eat it up. This movie will fire on all cylinders because it is doing exactly what a William Shakespeare play does. It gives dynamic characters, it has intrigue and betrayal, and it just has everything going for it. But if you're not into William Shakespeare and you're not into that kind of dialogue and that, that cadence of what William Shakespeare is known for, you're not really going to love this movie. You might actually be quite bored, maybe fall asleep with it because it's a very traditional play style movie. It's not, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. This is more of the Mel Gibson Hamlet than it is that version. And that's not to take away from the film because I really enjoyed it. I thought it was interesting. I thought it looked beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful movies I've seen in quite a while. I think the performances are amazing. But the thing about me, just my personal opinion, I'm not the hugest fan of Macbeth. I've never really found the play very interesting. So it was a little slow. It was a little slow burn for my taste. But I stick more with like Hamlet and, of course, Romeo and Juliet because I think they're just faster paced plays. I think they work on a different level than, of course, Macbeth does. But it doesn't take away from the genius that is Macbeth and how well Denzel Washington plays that Mad King, or, Frances McDormand plays Lady Macbeth, or how, of course, Brendan Gleeson plays Duncan, and of course, Harry Melling, or whatever, plays, his son, and how the betrayals and the witches, who are the most fascinating thing in this movie, how that plays, and the kind of the iconography and just the look and feel of the ravens and how there's so much, Easter egg type style stuff in here. And it's just a really fascinating look into the world that is Macbeth. It's a really fascinating take on it. I think the cinematography should win an Oscar, to be fairly honest. I think all the grips and the electricians and everybody working on just the sets and set design and costuming, they're all Oscar worthy, stuff because this movie takes the minimalist design. It looks like it could have been filmed on stage, with just how epic in scope everything looks, but how smallish everything looks. So it's like there's almost like a fantastical feel to the set pieces and stuff like that, and the sets and the lighting almost feels like a heavenly feel to it, but there's also like a minimalist feel, so there's not a lot of like big type set pieces and whatnot. And then on top of that, this movie was very reminiscent to me of The Seventh Seal, which is that famous film where the knight plays, of course, the death, and in chess, and it just had that feel of just like something kind of off about everything, but something, really interesting, like I said, fantastical. And, it was just the way the sets were built. Like I said, you could bring, the sets in on stage and move them out. It was really minimalist in what it was trying to do. And I thought that was absolutely fantastic because there's points in this movie where they'll do lighting sources where it'll just be like the outline of like a bunch of arches and then light is shining through it. And then sometimes they'll change the lighting to just focus on one character, or like they'll like go completely dark and you'll see the witches and stuff like that. It's just a really fascinating look and really fascinating feel from the cinematographer and Joel Cohen and what they were trying to present, because like I said, it's more supposed to be focused on the characters than it is the set pieces. So the fact that they went with that minimalist style is really interesting. So I thought that was a really fascinating take. And like I said, it definitely, to me personally, is what should win the Oscar for Best Cinematography and Best Art Design and Production Design. So, but I think that's where I'll kind of end my review. Like I said, it's a really fascinating play when you get into it. I don't think it's the best that William Shakespeare ever did, but I understand the appeal to it. And if you truly love Macbeth, you truly understand the concept of what's going on, you love the dialogue, the cadences, and stuff like that, 100% for you. It will be on Apple TV on, I think, the 14th of January, so watch it there. But if you don't like that kind of stuff, if you're not Romeo and Juliet and Hamlet, definitely don't watch this movie because it won't be for you, and you might find something better somewhere else. So, but anyways, that'll do it. That'll be my take on the tragedy of Macbeth. Definitely a great start to 2022 since I didn't get to see this in 2021. But anyways, what is your take on Macbeth? Are you looking forward to this? Have you seen this? What was your overall take on this version of the play? But yeah, let me know in the comments. But otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell top to find what's coming next. If you like any videos, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out. What's going on, everyone, and welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Dune. This film is directed by Denis Villeneuve. Now, before we begin, if you like this channel, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like any of the videos, awesome, hit that like button, as well as commenting below any video that you watch, including this one. So here we are, we're finally getting Dune, the highly anticipated, movie based off the very famous, considered one of the greatest sci-fi novels of all time by Frank Herbert. It's the story of a planet called Arrakis, which of course contains a thing called spice, which of course is a very famous aphrodisiac or drug, or however you want to look at it. Coveted, very valuable. It's in control currently of the Harkonnen, who become very greedy, so they're kicked off the planet by the Emperor, and we have this House Atreides group come in to basically make sure everything is mined and so on and so forth. They keep this group called the Fremen, which are the locals of Arrakis, in check, and it basically becomes the Harkonnen are butthurt. They're going to take down House Atreides, and House Atreides are somehow going to be involved with the Fremen. So the secret weapon of this whole entire book is, of course, Paul Atreides. Now, Paul Atreides is, of course, played by Timothée Chalamet. He's having visions of this young woman who's played by Zendaya, and he, to my honest opinion, even though it's more based on like Middle Eastern, theology and stuff like that, is a very Neo-like character, a very savior-esque character, where he is an individual that has abilities through his mom and what she is and what she's capable of, as well as being very stern and official, like his father is played by Oscar Isaac. And he is the key to not only saving Arrakis, but basically putting everything in check, similar to the Force in a lot of aspects, which I'm not trying to compare it to Star Wars because this is very much an influence for Star Wars, but it's in essence a guy who has all the weight on his shoulders, who is going to, in the end, somehow take down and protect Arrakis from every major entity. To be fairly honest, this is part one of a two-part movie, at least it's supposed to be. And with that said, this is a movie that is almost a miracle in its own right, because as we know, if you know anything about the book that Frank Herbert wrote, it's a very, very dense book. It's a very complicated book. It's very, unless you're really into very heady sci-fi in a lot of aspects, it can kind of make you confused. I tried reading it. I had struggled through it. So my dealings with Dune is a little complicated, but I still was anticipating what Denis Villeneuve could do. I still think he's able to take material and somehow make it work. And I had a lot of faith with him, and when it came to Dune, and then you get like Timothée Chalamet and Oscar Isaac and, Rebecca Ferguson, and you start getting all these people into this movie, and I think it became really, really special and really, really anticipated. And it's just a really interesting film. I mean, it's a film that just had a lot of buzz going for it. It was one of those films that really was meant to be seen on the screen, and then Warner Brothers did their whole thing, made Denis Villeneuve very, very upset. Almost didn't get a part two, which I hope they do. So with that said, I'm of two minds of this movie, so you have to go with me on this. The first mind of this movie is of the reviewer sense. I went into this movie very skeptical. I was really anticipating, but I was really worried that it was going to be so dense that it was going to be a complete mess. This is not a mess at all. Not only is this not a mess, but this might be one of Denis Villeneuve's best movies I've ever seen in my entire life. This guy has crafted a film that is not only mesmerizing to watch, not only is so good and so colorful and so exciting and so enthralling and so visually stunning, that this might be one of the best sci-fi movies I've ever seen, just on a technical prowess level. There is some stuff going on in this movie from a visual standpoint that it rivals anything I've ever seen anywhere in any movie I've ever seen. It rivals even Blade Runner 2047 or 2049 or whatever, the last film he did. The stuff that is going on in this movie, the level of depth and detail and the stuff you may miss is astounding. Like, I couldn't believe what I was watching. That's how enthralled I was with this movie, because it just completely envelops you in this world of Arrakis and the other planets that you see in this movie, and the makeup and the costuming and just the the sound work and the sound design. This movie's going to win all the technical achievements, I guarantee you, when the Oscars come out, because it blew my mind. This is an absolutely riveting project when it comes to a technical level. It's also a film that I was a little confused by in that aspect, just because it's a very dense book that he's trying to adapt, but I never felt really kind of out of place. I really understood the story. I understood who the Harkonnen were. I understood who the Fremen were. I understood who the Atreides family was. I understood why Paul Atreides was as important as he was. I think everybody in this movie is fantastic. Whether, like I said, everybody works on an A+ level. I think Timothée Chalamet, from an acting standpoint, is just gone into a whole different career level just from what you see him do in this movie. And he's been on that trajectory for a while. And this is what, people like Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve do very, very well, is give a level of authenticity to the project, the story. They never feel like they're skimping out on anything. They, never feel like they're, not spending the money that they're given. This is a movie that just shows everything on the screen. There are moments in this movie that will blow your mind, and you have to find yourself in an IMAX theater, a Dolby theater, or some kind of theater to watch this movie in the biggest screen possible, because it earns that respect of you. It's a movie that just completely does what it does and is absolutely engaging and enthralling. And I was like almost ready to cry because I had some tears in my eyes. I get goosebumps. I mean, this is a master class of work when it comes to a director like Denis Villeneuve, and it shows why he's the best director working today, including, like I said, Christopher Nolan. I keep bringing Christopher Nolan in, but these two directors are the two best working right now. And like I said earlier, I am of two minds of this movie. I've already talked about how much this movie was amazing, the sandworms, all that good stuff. Probably one of my favorite movies of the year. But we have to talk about the negative of this film, and a lot of people are going to be upset when I talk about this, but this movie, like I said, is what you consider unfilmable. Now, with that said, that means the book is very dense. It's very complicated. It has a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving pieces. There's a lot of stories that have come out. Look at the Dune that David Lynch did. Look at the Dune, the miniseries. They're not well received. They're not well loved, and there's a reason for that. And it's because it's just not a simple story to adapt. So there's a lot of stuff in here, and I saw it when I was coming out of the audience, or coming out of the screening. What people wanted out of this movie was a very action-oriented, very simple story of these characters on this planet fighting with sandworms and stuff like that. But it's more about like aristocracy and more about, saviors and more about, all these complex things about what the spice is and what, the Harkonnen are doing and what the Fremen are doing and stuff like that. So there's so many moving pieces in this that you can become lost. And for a normal going crowd, that is a problem for, a particular audience. So I worry about how this movie's going to perform. I still think it's going to do well just based on the popularity of the book. But you have to go in knowing that Denis Villeneuve as a director is a very authentic director. He's going to stick as well as he can without, truly going book page by page of the story. So there's a lot of stuff even in this movie that I didn't get with the Paul Atreides stuff until I, talked to someone about, it being about like Middle Eastern theology and stuff like that, and about, saviorism and stuff like that. And I think that could be a true problem for this story. I think it's the main issue of why this story is so beloved, but so difficult to kind of bring into the visual realm in a lot of aspects. And it's not to take away from the book because it's considered a classic for a reason. It just might not be for everyone. So it's not to take away from my love for this film. Like I said, probably gonna be my top 10 of the year, but I just have to point that out. And so there you go. That is my take on Dune. Like I said, I truly love this movie. Probably one of the best films I've seen this year. But if you did not like this movie or you had major problems with it, I totally understand that. But in the comments below, what is your affiliation with Dune? What is your kind of history with it? Do you know anything about it? Do you not know anything about it? Are you excited for this movie? Did you see the movie? What was your official opinion? Otherwise, if you like what you see on this channel, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming in next. If you like any of the videos, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Movie Emporium's movie review of West Side Story, the remake that's directed, of course, by Steven Spielberg. Now, before we begin, if you like this video, awesome, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium, hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like this video, awesome. Hit the like button as well as commenting below on any video that you watch, including this one. And so West Side Story is the newest adaptation of the very famous, very beloved musical that was created by Stephen Sondheim, rest in peace, as well as Leonard Bernstein, who also has passed away. And it tells the story of Tony and Maria, who are individuals that, like Romeo and Juliet, live on opposite spectrums of these two gangs called the Jets and the Sharks. The Jets were the white Americans, and of course the Sharks are the Puerto Ricans, and they do not like each other. They constantly fight with one another. They are just individuals that are at each other's throat, and they're very much like the Capulets and the Montagues in Romeo and Juliet. Well, Tony and Maria start developing a relationship that does not sit well with either side of the gang, and they decide they're going to have a rumble, and it pretty much plays out exactly how you expect. So with that said, West Side Story is considered one of the most influential musicals of all time. It got turned into a movie, which is also very influential, won Best Picture, but it's a movie or a musical that deals with a lot of progressive nature stuff, which includes profiling and interracial couple love, and of course racism, which are not well documented for a lot of 50s and 60s musicals. So what Stephen Sondheim and Leonard Bernstein were doing was very ahead of his time. Think about like Rent and stuff like that. So when the movie came out that Robert Wise did, it was once again very well received, considered a monument and achievement. You would think that they would never want to remake the film, and especially like somebody like Steven Spielberg would want to remake it. Well, the funny thing about it, and the thing that kind of caught me off guard when I first heard about this project, this remake, is the fact that Steven Spielberg wanted to do it. Now, Steven Spielberg is a guy who's very famous, one of the greatest directors of all time, can do whatever he wants basically at this point. But he's never been a director that's done remakes. He's done adaptations, his own projects. Jaws, E.T., all these things are very famous, but they're adaptations. But him taking on a project of a director I'm sure he was friends with, through most of his career, is something that I didn't really expect. I think he probably just wanted to do a musical, and he felt this was the best working project. So I still went in with the optimism. I was a little skeptical. They brought in a new actress into the role of Maria, who is in her first role. She was very excited. She was all over the news and so on and so forth. And then they brought in Ansel Elgort, who of course is having some issues right now. It's a weird project. It's something that I would not expect Steven Spielberg to do. And then he brought in Tony Kushner to write the script. And so the question remains, and the one you guys are asking, is how's the film and how's the direction? But the one you're really asking, is this film justifiable as a film that needs to exist? I'll be fairly honest, I don't believe it needed to exist. I think it's a film that, Spielberg was maybe bored and wanted to do a musical, and this is what he had. And I think the Robert Wise film is perfect in what it's trying to do. But with that said, and kind of getting that out of the way of my personal thoughts, this movie is fantastic. It really is. It's a great adaptation of the musical. It shows Spielberg's strengths in telling great stories with the help of Tony Kushner, of course, and never strays too far away from the source material, so it really feels authentic. It never feels like it's goofy or never, tries to be something that it's not. It's a musical, has a lot of great dance sequences. It really feels like something that would have come out in the 50s and 60s and really feels traditional in its core. So therefore, the performances of, for instance, Ariana DeBose, who plays Anita, and David Alvarez, who plays Bernardo, and of course you have Mike Faist, who plays Riff, and, Rita Moreno, of course, I think played Anita and won an Oscar, like I said. But these individuals are having to take on roles that are very famous for other people who have played them, and I think they actually do a nice job of not only being respectful to the characters themselves, but giving it their all and their own kind of twist on the characters. So therefore, when they talk and when they dance and when they do serious stuff, it really feels authentic and real and entertaining, and never feels goofy or never feels like it's like, wasting your time or being insulting to you. There are sequences where they have very 50s and 60s musical accents in the way they talk, and, they'll be doing their whole gangs or going after another gang, and then they'll do like the dance sequences and stuff like that. So I really feel like these actors and actresses, there's a whole bunch of other people in this movie, do a really fantastic job of just doing their all to make this movie a wonderful experience. And if I had a couple nitpicks, and I have a couple complaints about this movie, I think the main leads, Ansel Elgort and Rachel Zegler, Tony and Maria, do not have great chemistry in this movie. They are the linchpin, they are the anchor points of this whole entire series. They're the Romeo and Juliet. And I don't feel like there's any romance there. I feel like they fall in love too quickly, which is the problem probably with the story itself. But I never found these two characters really had any drive for one another. They feel like they just kind of collide with one another, and the songs that Ansel Elgort sings aren't really well done. And I just feel he's kind of the weak link of this movie, and it felt maybe they could have used somebody else that maybe would have had a little more charisma, a little more bravado. And I think when he's going up against someone like Rachel Zegler, who not only is in her first role, but is giving a breakthrough performance as Maria, and she does a really nice job, that she completely overshadows anything that Ansel Elgort does in this movie. And that's a shame. It really is. When you have these two characters who are literally the linchpin of the story, it makes it for a little bit of a downgraded experience, to be fairly honest. And like I said, it's not the worst thing in the world. I've seen much worse chemistry in a musical, but it has to be said that they didn't work well together. It's the unfortunate nature of what it is. But outside of that, the set pieces, the musical moments, everything about this movie, the camera work, the cinematography, the editing, the music, and how it plays in, and how it feels like you get like a breathing moment when the people sing or when the people talk and just have their moments. I think Rita Moreno does a really nice job in her limited stuff that she has in this movie. Spielberg allows her to sing a song in this movie, which is fantastic. And I just think in the end, this movie is just a complete winner. It actually is a film that may be a little bit better than the 1961 movie, but I still think that one is such a perfect movie that I have to go back and rewatch it just to kind of get my overall thoughts on it. But I think in the end, I think if you like West Side Story, I think if you like musicals, and I think if you go into this movie realizing, yes, it is a remake and adaptation, and kind of just run with it and go with it, I think you'll really enjoy it. I think it's a really great movie, one of the best movies of the year, and I think Spielberg is just at the top of his game again, as he usually is. He has a couple crappy films, and then he does something like this, and he completely redeems himself. So, anyways, that'll do it. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below. What is your overall take on West Side Story? What do you think of the original movie, or the music in general? But, yeah, if you like what you see on this video, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. And if you like these videos, awesome. Hit that like button. And as always, we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out. Happy holidays, everyone. Welcome to Movie Emporium's movie review of Licorice Pizza, the newest film from director Paul Thomas Anderson. Now, before we begin, if you like this channel, awesome. Hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit the notification bell at the top to find what's coming next. If you like any of these videos, awesome. Hit that like button, as well as commenting below on any video you watch, including this one. So Licorice Pizza is, of course, the newest film from Paul Thomas Anderson. It's a film that stars Alana Haim and Cooper Hoffman as Alana and Gary. And in essence, it's a film that kind of follows these two individuals who are very opposite of one another. Gary's a somewhat child successful actor who knows a lot of people in Hollywood and tries to, start his own businesses and very much a schemer and stuff like that. And then we have Alana, who is very much a very impressionable but somewhat older individual than Gary, but seems to have lost their way. She's like a lot of people who in their early 20s who just don't really know what they want. And somehow these two, even though they're on opposite sides of the spectrum, somehow find a connection with one another and kind of, navigate this world that is very much, bigger than them, is very much, in odds of one another and so on and so forth. And they just kind of, become this kind of interesting dynamic of a yin and yang scenario. And then on top of that, you have like Sean Penn, who comes into the mix as a famous actor. You have of course Bradley Cooper comes in as a famous director, and so on and so forth. So it's in essence a opposites attract type of film. It's very much a first love type story because they don't really have never had a real relationship. And it's also about what a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson films are about, which is very much the human condition, the human identity. How do we connect in the world that is very much out to separate and so on and so forth, and how these individuals kind of work well with one another. And that's what's really interesting about a director like Paul Thomas Anderson, is the way he writes characters and the way he places his characters. They're not what I would consider the most likable of individuals. They're kind of self-righteous in a lot of aspects, and the way they are written, it gets to a point where you're kind of questioning whether you want to root for these individuals, whether they have, the respect that they deserve by the end of the movie. But what is really fascinating is they're so three-dimensional one-dimensional and so kind of charismatic that you almost feel like you have to root for him because it's just the way he writes and the way he directs. But he also likes to go to a very fantastical, very kind of meta approach when he writes his stories. You know, for instance, when we do like There Will Be Blood, it's about, you know, greed and how we kind of screw each other over. And there's more to it than that. Magnolia is about how our place in the world and how we kind of connect with one another. But they're so despicable in that movie that it kind of makes it in the same realm as something like this. Punch Drunk Love is about an individual that is being beaten down by his family, and he finds lovelorn and kind of, you know, a heart relationship with, you know, the woman in the movie. And that's what this movie's doing. It's about kind of despicable individuals who are very charismatic and very three-dimensional in their own right, that you almost have to kind of love them for what they are. But what this movie does that I don't like, and when it comes to like the self-indulgent stuff, is just how he places his characters, how he tries to make it too fantastical and too self-righteous. And by the time this movie concludes, there's nobody that you really care about. There's nobody you really respect. I think the Alana character doesn't learn any lessons in this movie, even though she's kind of thrown around like, you know, a piñata doll, like beaten around and stuff like that. And I'm not saying she's like raped or anything like that in this movie, but she's just kind of beaten down as a human being by, of course, the Gary character. And I don't feel that her character gets any real interesting conclusion to her character, except that she somehow has a connection to Gary. And then Gary's character, which Cooper Hoffman's great in this movie, as well as Alana Haim, they're both great in this movie, but he's such a despicable character. He's such a douchebag in a lot of respects. I have no kind of love for him at all. I don't understand the relationship of the two. I don't understand why they like each other. Maybe they just find this kind of weird connection with one another. But I just felt that he's a kid that just kind of uses people, and then somehow they have a connection at the end. It really is bothersome. It happened in the Master, where somehow you have to like love this character that Joaquin Phoenix is playing. I didn't find that really that interesting. And then you're throwing Sean Penn into the mix, who plays this like older actor. You're throwing Tom Waits into the mix. You're throwing in, of course, Bradley Cooper. But I feel that this movie is so self-indulgent and so kind of up its own butt that even with this kind of interesting concept of trying to take place in a world that is very like our own, just very all over the place, and just kind of, it makes your like head explode, I just don't think it works. I really don't. I think this is one of the more kind of confusing and convoluted and kind of frustrating Paul Thomas Anderson films. I think the soundtrack is great, and like I said, the cinematography is great, as it always is. But I think there is just not enough reining in of Paul Thomas Anderson himself, which he's earned the respect to not can do whatever he wants. But I think what made like stuff like, you know, There Will Be Blood and Magnolia so great is, even though those characters were they're very despicable characters, there's something magnetic about it. There's something magnetic about the storytelling that just doesn't feel like it's here. And that's kind of a shame. It really is, because I was really looking forward to this film. It was in my most anticipated list of the year. But overall, I just didn't really care for this movie, and I thought, you know, just the way the characters are placed and way they throw themselves around, you know, some of the supporting characters are just kind of tossed in there for whatever it's worth, and just kind of not really used to the full ability. And I think in the end, I just think this is one more of a misstep than it is a success for when it comes to Paul Thomas Anderson. Now, with that said, if you like stuff like The Master, or you like stuff, you know, that, you know, Phantom Thread and stuff like that, I think you will get something out of this. But I think Punch Drunk Love does this kind of concept a little bit better, is a little bit shorter, and is a little more tight when it comes to the script telling, and when it comes to the love and romantic aspects of the, you know, what Paul Thomas Anderson is known for doing. But overall, I was not a huge fan of this movie. I was a little disappointed, and it's not the worst Paul Thomas Anderson's ever done. It's definitely not his best. So overall, it was just a disappointment. But anyways, that'll do it. That'll be my take on Licorice Pizza. Thank you so much for watching. Comments below, what did you think of this movie? What's your favorite Paul Thomas Anderson movie? All that good stuff. But once again, happy holidays. And as always, if you like this video, hit the subscribe button to join Movie Emporium. Hit that notification bell at the top to find what's coming in next. If you like these videos, awesome. Hit that like button, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace out. There we go. Anybody can hear me now. What's going on, everyone? Excuse me. We are live. We are talking Oscars. I am tired. 3 hours of sleep. It's good times. I hope you enjoyed that little intro I do every year with a hour-long video and stuff like that. I know it's an hour long of my old clips, but you know what? It's like I put videos in there that I think were going to be Oscar contenders and so on and so forth, and I could put like 3 hours, 3 hours of video, but no, it is what it is. So I apologize. I'm coughing a little bit. I don't have COVID, I promise you, but we're about 30 minutes away from the old Oscar nominations, the 94th annual Oscar nominations. As if you know the joke, I was 10 years old when the first, when the 10th Oscar nominations were held. That's when I was born. But yeah, it's rough getting no sleep, Jen. But you know what? That's what I'm here for. I'm here to talk about Oscars and the Oscar glory and all that good stuff. So apparently, I'm gonna cough my lungs out, but the Oscars are fun. They've gotten a little not as fun the last few years because it feels like we have all this excitement, we have all this drive, and then we find out what gets nominated, and then we get really mad, and it's like John was saying in the chat, it's like Don't Look Up. I'm like, I don't want that movie nominated for anything, but unfortunately, it's going to get screenplay nomination and all that stuff. But you know, it's one of those things that you just kind of have to deal with. But for the next what was it, 50s, 10, I don't know, 30 minutes, just talk about like what could get nominated and what could and all that good stuff. Fuzz Aldrin, I like the reference. I think that's a great name. So, what movie will get snubbed? Probably Spencer. Probably Mass. To be fairly honest, I am a huge fan of Mass. It was my favorite movie of last year. I just don't think it has any drive going forward. I don't think it'll get Best Picture nomination. Maybe it will. Maybe I'll be anticipating. I have a notepad open up on my computer that will, tell me that, not tell me, but will be my kind of guide to writing everything down. But the things nominated, the things that will be, honestly, this is why I go to Variety every year, because they're pretty spot on what the predictions are. Clayton, I think it's Clayton Davis does it every year. He does a pretty good job of the kind of paying attention to all the different places that of like all the different festivals and all the circuits and stuff like that. The Hollywood Reporter and Golden Globes and whatever, and just kind of keeping an eye on. And they have a pretty good nomenclature, a pretty good look into the actual nominations. But we'll go over there to Variety because that's what I like. I like what they do every year. I keep an eye on it almost every day just to keep an idea. Jesus. But for the three people that are in the chat right now, thank you for joining. It is, I do appreciate it. So we'll switch over to, like I said, this is the Variety. Sorry, my face is in the mix, but I was over on my OBS, like trying to scroll down and realize I'm in the wrong screen. But the things that are real quick to talk about, like live action, documentary, short, animated short. As we all know, we don't really watch a lot of this stuff, so it's hard to kind of predict. The people who do watch this stuff really have a good aim on what they're looking for. So for instance, I've never heard of any of these movies at all, which kind of sucks because it makes you kind of sad that you don't know these. But the list is only it's 30, like 30 things long. And it's the same thing with like animated shorts and stuff like that. I hate when it does that. It's funny. I don't want to talk about Jen. I'll be absolutely honest with you. I hate that movie so very, very much. The fact that Jared Leto might get nominated as well as for Razzie and Oscar for the same role is just baffling to me. It really is. I don't get it. I don't get what people love about that movie. If you like it, it's fine. But I don't know what Jared Leto was doing. I don't know what he was doing in that movie. I really don't. I think it was kind of weird and not a little off-putting. I hear it may be what it's like. I don't know. I don't know what that. I don't know if you want to talk about Coles there for a second. I mean, you look at animated short. It's this is probably going to be the winner. I mean, this was an incredible short, but it's just like it's Disney. You kind of come to expect it. Um, what you think? You think House of Gucci will be nominated? I hope not. Yeah, it's funny, Jen, when you say that. It's like House of Gucci was really bad, but Last Duel was really good. It's like it doesn't make any sense. It's like two brains of Ridley Scott working in tandem, and I just don't get. He gets like really upset. Yes, I know you enjoyed it, John. I know you enjoyed it. I can't. It's too campy for my taste. So, but I'm just gonna let you know right now if there is a running troll stuff going in my account, I'm just gonna ignore it. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly I don't know what Jai Bim is. I don't know what that means. If it's an insulting word, I don't know. I apologize. I'm not. I'm just. I learned from last year to not deal. This is maybe like last time I'm gonna say it, but I'm not gonna. Not gonna get into that. So, anyways, so those are real quick like anime documentary short. I don't disregard what they do. I mean, they're very important for what they do. I just don't know anything about it. Best international feature. This is going to be an interesting one for Flea. Flea is going to be twice or thrice nominated this year, I believe. It's going to be in three different categories, most likely, unless the Academy just has some kind of weird, kind of blank in the head moment. But um, like for instance, like they have Drive My Car. I want to say something about Drive My Car. I said it on Twitter yesterday. How the heck am I supposed to nominate a movie that I can't even get access of? Like, I can't put this anywhere on my list because I have not seen it. I know it's 3 hours long. It's supposed to be quite incredible, but I have no way of watching it. Like, how do you nominate something when 99% of people can't even watch it or find a thing for it? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Yeah, yeah, John. I know. That's why I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to leave it at that for right now. So, but I've seen three of these other movies. It's Flea. Flea is a movie I saw this year. It's a movie that would have been my top 10 of last year because it's an absolutely devastating but incredible movie, and it's a perfect way to do a documentary and make it feel fresh and make it unique while telling a story that can be very similar and relatable to a lot of people in the world. And it's the same thing with like Worst Person in the World. I feel it's a very relatable film, awesome film. Like I said, that's probably gonna get nominated. Hero, Asghar Farhadi's newest film, which he did a separation. I know a lot of people have probably not seen this film or not don't know who the director is, but it's a quite incredible film. I don't know The Hand of God very much, so I don't know much about that. This is kind of where my kind of knowledge of what is coming up for international film this year. But there's a Miami Film Festival is going to show like God Bless, and I know you guys can't see it because of my picture, but there's like this film God Bless from Spain and Prayers of the Stolen from Mexico. Those are showing at this film festival in Miami where I'm located. So that's international film. Um, like I said, I'm kind of running through this because the last time I almost like ran out of time before the Oscar nomination started. Best original song. This is where you're gonna see, like The Harder They Fall probably get nominated, and No Time to Die, which is like 2 years of listening to that song, unfortunately due to COVID. Um, and when it comes to Encanto, it's gonna be interesting. They put Ruguritas. I think it's gonna be nobody talks about Bruno or the very first song, the family Madrio. So we'll see what happens there. But I mean, everything Lin Manuel Miranda did last year was amazing. Yeah, Encanto is going to get nominated for probably best song, best anime feature. It's too bad they don't nominate like him, like the directors or anything, or anything like that. But I don't know for Good Days. I don't know that, but I this is what I would nominate for me. No Time to Die, Encanto, The Harder They Fall because Guns Go Bang is really good. Annette is a movie I really didn't like, but the name of the group if you remember the name of the group, the Sparks or something like that. Annette's at the beginning they did that So We May Start, So May We Start was an absolutely incredible song. Yeah, don't talk about Bruno on the charts. I didn't realize that was such a huge hit. It's pretty crazy to think about. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's a great song. I'm not gonna lie. It's just I didn't even think about it being the biggest song of the movie. Like I said, the first song I really like, but it has a lot of great beats to it. It really shows you how talented Lin-Manuel Miranda is. Lin-Manuel Miranda is gonna have a pretty good year when it comes to nominations. And I don't know if he'll win, but he's really close to EGOT, which is the four major four major wins in like theater and Oscars and stuff like that. Yeah, anything. I hope anything passes Frozen. I'll be absolutely honest with you. Respect. Here I am. I think that's another. That's what that was where my five picks was Respect and Net, The Harder They Fall, and Kanto, and No Time to Die is what I would do. So, oh, our friend is back. I'm gonna report. Love Face is back, Jen. Love Face is back. Oh man. So yeah, but that's a song category. Like I said, we'll see what happens there. It's pretty gonna be pretty standard stuff. So, um, well, I mean, hopefully, No Time to Die wins for something. I know you really like that movie, so but man, best original score. I think this is another one that oh, what's his name? Johnny Greenwood's gonna get a couple nominations this year. Um, I'm surprised they have No Time to Die in number 8. That would be a one I'd probably put up in the top 5, I guess. Dune had a great score. That's automatic, nomination. Power of the Dog, which is one I still haven't seen. Um, yeah, Jen, I'll be absolutely honest with you. If they span the Chaz and the unfortunate natures, I can't. It sucks. Like last year, I was trying to like hide everything, and I just couldn't do it. And I appreciate your attempt to stop them, but I don't know. It's weird. I'm sure other people are getting this problem, but um, Spencer, Don't Look Up, and Kanto. I didn't see Power of the Dog this year. Unfortunately, I just haven't had time to see it yet. I hear it's really good. I have predictions that it's going to be nominated for quite a bit of stuff, but Encanto, good. How do you actually? Yeah, you know what? Let me do that because I am. Okay, you're moderators. I appreciate it. Like I said, I don't like having people work, but it's just like yeah, it's really frustrating. Um, John. The thing is, I don't know. I could see No Time to Die winning it. I could see Dune winning it. Score is always an interesting one because you know you never know how they're going to vote. It's always different in many ways, and I don't know. We'll see what happens though. So, um, Tragedy and Macbeth, that was a pretty good score. Candyman, that'd be interesting. Don't see that happening, but here's going to be a sneaky one. I'm not happy about this. This is going to get a lot of nominations this year just because Aaron Sorkin directed it. So we'll see what happens there. Okay, we have 18 minutes. Best visual effects. This is good. This is literally a one-handed victory, and it's going to Dune. Um, Dune, Spider-Man: No Way Home. I could see Free Guy and Matrix Resurrections being in the top 5. Godzilla. Here's what I think: Matrix Resurrections, Free Guy, Godzilla vs Kong. That's 3. Spider-Man: No Way Home and Dune. Those are my predictions on what's going to be nominated. And whether that happens or not, but I mean, we all have to agree Dune's going to be that film that's going to win the best visual effects because it is the most astounding sci-fi film I've ever seen that isn't called Star Wars. So, um, Ghostbusters Afterlife, that could be a good nomination, but I didn't really care for that movie too much. I see Spider-Man. Um, yeah, Spider-Man: No Way Home was absolutely incredible. I'm part of this online film critics association, and there is best crap moment, like best like oh my god moment of a movie this year, and they didn't do the Spider-Man thing, which was really depressing. Um, I don't know if Godzilla has weird CGI. It's two monsters clashing together, so it's just a bunch of gigantic creatures. That's why Dune. I mean, Dune. That sandworm thing was is insane to watch. But um, let's see. Oh, sound, film editing. Nobody cares about those. I mean, they care. I think film editing is one of the most important things because, as I've learned from editing my videos, editing sucks. Not gonna lie. I mean, this is like one of those categories where it's the underappreciated. It's the one that has the most effort and work outside of visual effects, but it's a category people don't appreciate very much. I shouldn't say I hate it, but it's like Dune, Spider-Man, all that stuff. So that's where we're gonna go from there. Best animated feature, actually best cinematography. Best cinematography is either gonna go to Power of the What the I hate when it does this. Stop loading. There we go. Power of the Dog. I'm sorry. Best cinematography is going to go to either Dune or Tragedy of Macbeth. Now, I think it should go to. I think Dune is probably going to win. I think Tragedy of Macbeth is a better looking film. I'll be fairly honest. I think it's a film that uses black and white to such a degree that it's almost a scary thing to watch, but it's absolutely incredible. I mean, all these are incredible. I mean, Belfast and West Side Story, Nightmare Alley was incredible. Titan was incredible. Cyrano was incredible when it comes to cinematography. I think Cyrano is going to get a big 0 when it comes to nominations, but I mean, Belfast, all these are great. Even Licorice Pizza had great cinematography, and Last Night in Soho and stuff like that. It's really a stacked category. Like any of these movies could fit in there. I don't know how you feel about Macbeth. It's a really slow movie, but it's quite incredible to look at. Jesus. Um, let's see. Best ad- when it does that. Best adapted screenplay. This, of course, is going to go. Power of the Dog. Jane Campion's probably going to win it. She needs to win something every once in a while. Drive My Car. Like I said, you need to allow some people to see this movie in order to get a good clue. Because if Drive My Car were to get international Best Picture nomination, as well as a Best Picture nomination, I think that would be perfect for the chance to finally be able to see the movie. But like I said, Coda and Lost Daughters. I don't know why Dune is not in here as best, adapted. I would do Power of the Dog, even though I haven't seen the movie. I'm just going off what I'm hearing. Dune, Tragedy of Macbeth, Coda, and Drive My Car. Maybe. Like I said, I don't know Drive My Car. I mean, I haven't been able to see it. Power of the Dog is my own fault, but we'll see what happens there. Best original screenplay. Kenneth Branagh is probably going to win this one because it's it's a film that's pretty incredible. This is where Adam McKay is going to get his like 15,000 nomination for best original screenplay or best screenplay in general. Aaron Sorkin is literally the greatest writer in history, even though I didn't like being Ricardo's, so he's going to get a nomination. I mean, this is Mass. I wish Mass would get all the nominations, but it's not going to. Don't Look Up, King Richard, which is going to get quite a few nominations, most likely. I like that they have Pig in contenders. Pig should be nominated for quite a bit, too. So hopefully Nicolas Cage gets a nomination, but we'll see what that happens. If there's any I'm talking about that you want to talk about, just let me know in the comments. Like I said, it's more just I'm going through like the smaller stuff before we get into like the supporting stuff and talk about that for the next couple minutes. We'll go through this really quickly. Best supporting actress. This is a really stacked year. I mean, every single one. Yeah, they have Ann Dowd so far. Ann Dowd's the best part about that movie. I know people like Reed Blarney, but I mean, it's just such a stacked. I mean, this is probably going to be your nominations. I would say maybe Marley Martin in for Ingenue Ellis, who I thought Ingenue Ellis was a fantastic in King Richard. Kate Blanchett almost feels like a pick that they're just going to put in there. I hope so too. I really don't want to see that movie get nominated. Couldn't get in The Pig. I mean, it's Nicolas Cage's best movie since like I don't know Mandy or something like that. Kirsten Dunst, Catriona Balfe, Adriana DeBosi, all gonna get nominated. Well, like I said, Ann Dowd. If Meryl Streep doesn't get nominated, I would actually be quite surprised because she's Meryl Streep and gets nominated for everything. Actually, it would be kind of sad, but
Sally Hawkins. All these are like people that have been nominated most of the time before, so there's nothing really new. But I think this is pretty safe to say what it's going to be nominated. So Jessie Buckley's always been one of those actresses that's always been on the outskirts of getting a nomination. So she'll get one of these days, but probably not for this. Actually, I would not be surprised if Rita Moreno gets switched out for Angelina Ellis or Kate Blanchett because she's royalty in the eyes of the Oscars. So there's supporting actress. Supporting. That's not what I'm going to do. I hate you. Have we talked about anime feature? I don't think we did. Anime feature. This is where Flea is going to get its second nomination. Encanto. Animation is weird this year. There hasn't been a lot of good stuff. Like I would put Wish Dragon in nominated because it's such a good film. I'm not a fan of Luca. I'm not a fan of. At least four are pretty good, but Luca I would switch out with like Wish Dragon or something. Yeah, she doesn't even wake up for the Oscars anymore. She just knows she's getting nominated. This is how she is. But Flea, yeah, Flea is going to get its second nomination. It's also going to get, I think I said, animated, international, and documentary. So those three are that's what it's going to get nominated in. So supporting actor, this is where it's pretty going to be pretty standard. Cody Smith McPhee, Tony Kotzer, Bradley Cooper. I hope it doesn't get nominated. This is one where I know Syrian Hines. I love Syrian Hines in this movie. I think he's the best part about the movie. He better get nominated. Ben Affleck for Tender Bar. He was good in it, but I think Jamie Dornan or Mike Faist or something like that should get nominated. But this seems pretty logical. Bradley Cooper for the 5 minutes he was in the movie. I mean, really, it's like giving it to Judi Dench and Shakespeare in Love. It's like, come on. But like I said, I would switch out Jamie Dornan or what did I say, Mike Faist. I mean, I loved Encanto. I do agree. Raya and the Last Dragon's great. I would, like I said, Flea, I think, should win that category just based off what it's trying to do. But I think Tony Kotzer is going to win this year. I really do. I think it's going to be him or, unfortunately, I think it's going to be him or Jared Leto. We'll see about that. But best actress. 8 minutes. So I need to start. I should start earlier next year. Nicole Kidman for being the Ricardos. Thank God. You guys hate that Internals. I thought it was fine. I get it, but let's see. Here's who I think for best actress. I think unfortunately Lady Gaga. I think Kristen Stewart might get pushed out this year, believe it or not, which is such a shame. This is not a good list. I mean, like Lady Gaga and Penelope Cruz is fine, but Nicole Kidman. I hear Lost Daughter's not that great. I mean, we're missing out on Jennifer Hudson and Jessica Chastain and Alana Haim and Frances McDormand. Rachel Zegler, I think should be put in there because she was really good in West Side Story. It's going to be weird. I don't know. I'm not really happy with the 5 ranking actresses. Like I said, I don't know. Nicole Kidman, I don't get why people like that movie, but where are we next? Best actor, supporting actor, actress. Best actor. This is going to be all people that have been nominated before. Will Smith probably going to win this year, if not for Benedict Cumberbatch, which I hear is really good. Andrew Garfield, probably my favorite role this year. Denzel Washington, it's Denzel Washington. It could be either him or Leo. Javier Bardem, probably. I mean, he's good in the movie, but I don't like that movie at all. Let's see. Probably, if they weren't going to nominate anyone else, it'd probably be Leo DiCaprio. Clifton Collins Jr. would be amazing as a Best Actor nomination, or Nicolas Cage, or even Jude Hill in that role. But this is pretty standard for what it's most likely going to be. Yeah, I agree. Rachel Zegler was awesome in West Side Story. Absolutely awesome. And like for her first role ever, for pretty much her first role ever, it's pretty crazy to think about. But Best Director, Denis Villeneuve is going to get nominated. Jane Campion is going to get nominated. Kenneth Branagh is nominated. Paul Thomas Anderson is going to get nominated. Steven Spielberg, we'll see. I think Ryusuke Hamaguchi could be like the surprise vote, or maybe a Joel Cohen or Adam McKay. Sean Heater got a lot of heat for her movie Coda from some people, so it might be a different story. But these are the four most likely nominated people, unless they change something out. Like I said, it'll be surprising, I'm sure. But Ryusuke Hamaguchi most likely possibly could get nominated just for his movie and the movie that no one can see right now. And Adam McKay, being Adam McKay. Guillermo del Toro would be a nice surprise because I love Nightmare Alley. I thought that was good. Aaron Sorkin could be, I would love Lin-Manuel Miranda in there. Ridley Scott for House of Gucci. At least give him Last Duel. Julia Ducournau for Titan would be awesome. Joe Wright for Cyrano could be cool. And we'll talk about for the next 3 or 4 minutes. Best Picture. This is going to be interesting because I don't like how they do it. It could be 5 movies. It could be 10 movies. It could be somewhere in between. People got to make up their stupid minds. I don't understand how the Oscar does it. I really don't and never have. But this is pretty standard. What most likely is going to be nominated. It's going to be Belfast, Power of the Dog are the 2 top contenders right now. West Side Story. I honestly, I would, because it's been nominated before. I don't feel like I know that's kind of mean-spirited, but I don't think it needs to be nominated again. It's a great movie, but I'm very weird about that kind of stuff. Dune would be my best picture of the year if it weren't for Mass. Licorice Pizza. I don't know why that movie's so beloved. King Richard, which was a good crowd pleaser. Coda, Don't Look Up, Being the Ricardos, Nightmare Alley. Here. I mean, I put my top 10. I would probably, if I would mix out like Nightmare Alley for Tick Tick Boom, and Drive My Car would go in there, even though I've never seen the movie. Tragedy Macbeth might go up there. I did tell you, John. Oh, Belfast is awesome. I did tell you, John. I heard that Spider-Man: No Way Home could be nominated for Best Picture, so that might be a shock. If that gets nominated for Best Picture, that will be the most insane thing of the year. Worst Person in the World, like I said, Best Foreign Film, but probably not Best Picture, even though I love it. I think it's a great film. But here's kind of the lower half. Flea would be amazing. It's like a 4-tier type of thing. I think that would be great. Public says this. God, we're getting masks in grocery stores again. Wonderful. But like I said, this is pretty standard with what I think they're gonna do. Belfast, Spider-Man winning it all. You'd love that, wouldn't you? You'd love that. Belfast, Power of the Dog, West Side Story, Dune are the most likely locks. Licorice Pizza, King Richard, here or there. Coda, Don't Look Up, Being the Ricardos, Nightmare Alley. You could switch those out. I wouldn't be upset because, I want to see Tick Tick Boom, and it'd be amazing if Spider-Man got. Ooh. Who's that noise? Oh, sorry. I didn't realize what that noise. There's noise I was hearing. I don't know where that noise was coming from. But that happened when I was apparently when I was doing the live stream. It was coming through. But switch back over here real quick. Parallel Mothers, Tick Tick Boom. Unfortunately, I think House of Gucci could get nominated, but that's pretty much where it lies for right now. Belfast, I'm going to say Belfast, Power of the Dog, West Side Story, Dune, Tick Tick Boom, Tick Tick Boom, King Richard, Licorice Pizza, and probably Coda. I'm going to go for that. Yeah, it's fine. I appreciate you doing Lord's work there, Jen. So there we go. I'll switch over. So I have to ask you guys, would you rather watch the Oscar nominations this way or this way? I might go this way just for effect. Go. What? Man. You know what happens when you haven't slept for like 3 hours? Or slept like 3 hours? Now I have to ask, let me know if this is too loud. If I'm too loud or this is too loud and you can't hear, I'll turn it off from OBS. Oh, you want it like this? $50. So people who are luckier than me get nominated. Okay, we'll leave it like that then. The only problem is my face might not be able to see the whole thing, so. But just to let you know, they are going to split it in half like they've done the last few years. So they'll do like the lower categories first and then do everything else second. So if I don't talk as much, I'm going to be writing all these down. So they've gone to black. I'm excited for the Oscars. All right, here we go.
Good morning, afternoon, evening. I may be in the movie capital of the world, but movies really live wherever you come together in theaters or in your homes to share great stories told on the screen. And today we celebrate that, thanks to the nearly 9,500 voting members of the Academy. They're movie makers, sure, but really movie lovers about to share the films they've loved the most this year. I hope you're doing the same with your friends and your family. Now's the time. Movie lovers unite. Let's meet your announcement hosts, Tracy Ellis Ross and Leslie Jordan.
They have the
I am so excited. I went to sleep dressed like this. Now let's go to the Oscars, Tracy. What time are you picking me up?
Uh-oh, Leslie, someone did not read the memo. The Oscars are not tonight. They're on March 27th. This morning, we just announced the nominees.
This is why I hate being hunkered down. I never know what day it is or month. But if it's not the Oscars, why are you dressed so nice?
Oh, this old thing?
Yeah, they're way better
This
than some
is
years.
my workout outfit, Leslie. I just threw this on to go to cycling class in an hour. All right. This year's Oscars theme is Movie Lovers Unite. And during this next half hour, we will be joined by some very special movie lovers across the country to help us announce some of the nominees. Are you ready, Leslie?
Wait, I'll be right back. This outfit, it doesn't feel right for the Oscar announcements.
Okay. All right. Well, Oscar nominees in most categories are chosen by members of their respective branches, but nominees for Best Picture
that's cool.
are
They're giving us
chosen by
actual
the
what
entire
they're
Academy
doing.
membership. And if you stay tuned to find out how this year you, the fans, will be able to get to vote for your favorite movie and movie moment featured on the Oscar telecast.
Now I'm ready. I love it. Understated and traditional.
Very much understated.
Here are the nominees for performance by an actress in a supporting role.
They're just going straight towards it.
Jessie Buckley in The Lost Daughter.
Yes, Jessie Buckley. Holy shit.
Ariana DeBose in West Side Story. Judi Dench in Belfast.
They couldn't help themselves. She's great in it, though.
Kirsten Dunst in Power of the Dog.
Oh, some interesting.
And Ingenue Ellis in King Richard.
My turn. Here are
Jessie
the
Buckley,
nominees for
congratulations to her.
achievement in costume design.
Ooh.
Cruella. Cyrano.
I got a nomination. That's
Dune.
good. Dune.
Nightmare Alley. And West Side Story.
Yeah, pretty standard.
I'm a little hurt my costume wasn't nominated again. Well, maybe next year. Here are the nominees for achievement in sound. Belfast. Dune.
Dune's getting way a
No
lot of
Time to
nominations.
Die. The Power of the Dog. And West Side Story.
That's Spider-Man, huh?
As part of our movie lovers uniting across the country, let's go to Troy, Michigan. Joining us are 11 healthcare professionals from Beaumont Hospital. Reading the nominees is physician's assistant and fellow movie lover,
Yeah, I like it.
Shantia Bobo Harden, who loves the
great
movie
name.
Girl Trip. Shantia, over to you.
Thank you, Tracy. Here are the nominees for Achievement in Music, Original Score. Don't Look Up, Dune, Encanto,
Encanto.
Parallel Mothers, and The Power of the Dog.
Thank you
You
so
tell
much,
'em, CJ.
Shantia.
Yay.
And thank you to all the healthcare workers at Beaumont and all across the country who
Yeah,
do
Jen.
so
It's
much
gonna be
for all of us.
West Side
Thank
Story's
you.
getting some nominations this year.
Leslie, wait. Is that an official Oscar pendant? And if so, why didn't I get one?
I borrowed it from your Oscar nominations gift basket.
Ah, okay.
And now, adapted screenplay. The nominees are Coda, screenplay by Sean Hayter, screenplay by Ryusuke Hamaguchi
Nice.
and Taka Masaoka. Dune,
I know.
screenplay by John
I need to see it so bad.
Spates,
Jane Campion is a weird
Denis
director for me.
Denis Villeneuve, and Eric Roth.
The Lost Daughter, written by Maggie Gyllenhaal.
And The Power of the Dog, written by Jane Campion.
Here are the nominees for Original Screenplay. Belfast, written by Kenneth Branagh.
Don't Look Up, screenplay by Adam McKay, story by Adam McKay and David Sirota.
King Richard, written by Zach Balin.
Licorice Pizza, written by Paul Thomas Anderson.
And The Worst Person in the World, written
Yeah, how
by
about that?
Eskil Vogt
Congratulations.
and Joachim Trier.
Love it. Nice swerve.
Here are the nominees for Best Animated Short Film. Affairs of the Bestia,
Like having
Box
some sound
Ballet,
problems.
Robin, and The Windshield Wiper. Another category for me.
Oh, they didn't give it
Back
to
to back,
the-
Leslie again. I think they like my
Disney
announcer
short.
voice. And now, the nominees for Best Live Action Short Film.
Well done.
A la Cachu, Take and Run, The Dress, The Long Goodbye, On My
Hey.
Mind,
Where's that Meg got
and
nominated again?
Please Hold.
Where's that Meg's having
So
a good year?
appropriate that I just announced animated short film and live action short for I Am Animated and Short.
Oh, Leslie. And now here are the nominees for performance by an actor in a supporting role. Kareen Hines in Belfast.
Is that how you say his name?
Troy Kotzer in Coda.
Hope he doesn't fall off a chair again.
Jesse Plemons in The Power of the Dog.
Wow.
J.K. Simmons in Being the Ricardos. And Cody Smith-McPhee in Power of the Dog. In just a few minutes, we've got more nominee announcements coming up, including those for lead actor and actress, director, and best picture.
Oh, wait.
How much fun is this?
Well, this is the
was
most fun
quick.
I have ever had at 5:25 in the morning. Not.
You can tell that Leslie and I are bristling. We are bristling with diversity. We are
Are you
bringing
now?
diversity to these announcements. I am Moderna.
And I am sparkling Pfizer.
Leslie, are you boosted?
Why, yes, Tracy, I'm sitting on a pillow.
Okay, joining us is another movie lover, film enthusiast, Reese Feldman. Reese, what's your reaction to the nominees for supporting actress? Tell us everything.
This is such a stacked category. I love it so much. Jessie Buckley for The Lost Daughter. I really loved her and I'm thinking of ending things, so I'm really excited that she's getting recognized for this. Although Olivia Colman's getting a lot of praise for her performance in this movie, it's Jessie Buckley who helps move the story forward from the past. So she's just incredible. Ariana DeBose, hearing her name announced really just made me smile. Simply put, she's perfect as Anita in West Side Story. And for a character that's already won
So
Rita
Ben
Moreno an
Affleck
Oscar
not for the
60 years
Tinder bar.
prior,
It's interesting.
it's just so incredible to me that she was able to step into this role and just make it entirely her own. Dame Judi Dench for Belfast, 7-time Oscar nominee, already won back in '98 for Shakespeare in Love. She's just so dialed in throughout this entire film and just plays great off of Kieran Hines. And I'm kind of excited to see her maybe get a second win. Kirsten Dunst for The Power of the Dog. This was one I was really hoping for. I mean, that piano scene, gosh, she is such a talent, and I really hope this is the role that she's going to be remembered for moving
Power
forward.
of the Dog, I guess.
And I think the success of the movie largely deals with how good she is. And lastly, but definitely not least, Anjanou Ellis. She has been consistently amazing in every role that she's been in for decades.
Not her.
And although she plays a supporting role in
Kristen
King
Dunst.
Richard, she really does feel like an additional lead next to Will Smith for just how much power she brings to the performance. So it was just a great category.
I agree with you. It's
What's your take on the costume nominees or on
Don't
my
Look Up
costume?
is a hard thing
Yours
to deal
is
with.
fantastic, and it's the biggest snub
No,
here.
the
It should have been
ending- I
nominated,
have to
but
admit that
yes,
ending-
Cruella, honestly, a really fun surprise of a movie. 2021, and
The ending
obviously the
to
costumes are
Don't
such
Look
a
Up
focus.
is
It's a
actually quite
fashion movie.
fantastic. The whole
70s
Meryl
London
Streep getting
just does
eaten,
so
which I
much
thought was
for
pretty
it, and
funny.
every dress
But the
genuinely
movie's just
looks like it
overlong and
deserves to be in the
overwrought
Met
and
Gala.
boring, and
Cyrano,
isn't
I'm a
as funny.
sucker for period pieces, and the fact that it takes place in 17th century France just feels
I
like
hate
it was
that they
written
do
for
this
me.
split. It's like,
The
just do
formal
all the
wear,
categories
the
in.
military uniforms,
Yeah,
the
I'm
design
happy
of
for
the
Cody
plays,
Smith
it's all
McPhee.
just
He's
so
a
good.
actor who's been coming up in
Dune, I
quite a
think,
bit of
is such a
stuff,
cool
and
nomination
he deserves,
because
you know,
it's a
this
sci-fi movie, and
gigantic leap in his
it's really
acting.
tough
But
to submerge a viewer in the reality of the film,
Power of the Dog
and
is trash
because
compared
the
to.
costuming, it kinda
Well, I'm under
bounces those
embargo for that, so
futuristic
I
reality
can't tell
beats
you
advanced
if it's
yet
good or
familiar.
not. But
Nightmare Alley,
we'll find out.
I really liked that.
Jessie Buckley should have gotten nominated for that
It's just so many different settings. The carnival
Netflix
scenes
movie,
are
the
great,
Charlie
the
Kaufman
costuming
movie,
is
which was
wonderful,
she was
and
really
the
good in
roles
it.
that Guillermo del Toro
It's funny that her
has,
and Jesse Plemons were both in that film, and they got
costume
nominated in the same
absolutely
year.
matches, and the whole
I
look
think
of
that's
the
pretty
film is
funny.
wonderful. And lastly, West Side Story. This film, 60 years prior, has already won an Oscar for costume design, and I really wouldn't be surprised if it
What time
wins
is it at where
again.
you're at, Jen?
The costumes, the color, the
Yeah, it's
attention
like
to
8
detail,
it's
the way
8:30
that each
here,
costume
so
kinda speaks to the characters as individuals. It's really just one of the many reasons why I love that movie so much this year.
I don't want to watch this guy talk about his
What
fakeness and his.
categories are you most excited to see coming up?
Oh, I've been dying to see who's going to get nominated for Best Picture. That's one I've been waiting the whole year for.
And do you see any trends? Do you see any trends developing? Anything that
I gotta watch The Windshield Wiper. It's the best animated show. I hear it's really good. Oof, 5:30.
I don't know. I feel like it's
Man,
too
thank you
early
for
to
coming
say.
on at
I
5:30
really
in the
love
morning.
who's been
Good lord.
nominated, but I'm interested to see. I guess also Best Film Editing. That's one that I always love to look out
Now
for.
we
and
know
I'm
what
always
should get
interested
nominated for
to
Best
have the
Picture
Academy
is, of course,
voters,
Moonfall, because it's the greatest movie
decide.
ever made.
So that's definitely another one that I'm kind of really looking forward to.
Well, thank you so much, Reese. It's really been fun hearing
you.
your take on all of this, and we'll be checking back in with you later.
Sounds great.
I won't. I'm going to tell you that right now. I sure won't.
So,
Awkward
Leslie,
silence.
how's it feeling on your side?
Feeling good?
Yeah?
Yeah. I get it. Seems
Awkward.
so rushed. Hearing your name announced
Awkward.
this morning is a moment
When's
each
my
nominee
time?
will never
When's my
forget.
place?
Not that I would know what an Oscar nomination is like, but a boy can dream.
Oh, Leslie and a girl can dream too.
For those hunker downers just joining us, good morning.
Good morning. And for those who have been watching, welcome back. All right. Now it is time for the rest of the Oscar nomination announcements, including the big one at the end for Big Picture. Here
Big
are
Picture.
the nominees for achievement in film editing.
Film editing.
Don't Look Up. Dune. King Richard. The
I'm like-
Power of the Dog.
I'm
and
like,
Tick Tick Boom.
oh, nice. I'm like,
Why, Leslie?
Sideshow Bob every
Don't
time
you
that movie
look
gets nominated.
beautiful?
Well, thank you, Tracy.
Oh, you're
Next,
welcome.
I get to announce everyone up for achievement in makeup and hairstyling. None of whom showed
You
up
know you
at
still
my
wanna see
house
it.
this morning. I did this all myself.
You did?
Yeah. Now, here are the nominees. Coming to America,
Oh, what the hell?
Cruella, Dune,
The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
and House of Gucci.
Ugh. Ugh.
And now it is time to meet a huge movie fan coming to us from Tampa.
A huge movie fan and a
Tampa,
huge
Tampa
guy.
representing.
Well, to me, everyone is huge.
Oh, Leslie. He is a WWE superstar who established the award-winning Thaddeus M. Bullard Academy at Sly Middle Magnet School. The Academy's mission is to serve economically disadvantaged students by providing them with a first-class education and creating a wonderful culture of positivity.
You ain't wrong on that
Here
one.
is Titus O'Neill.
Thanks, Tracy and Leslie. To read the names of the nominees in this next category is a fellow movie lover, 8th grade track star, high honor roll student, Courtney Anderson, who loves the entire Twilight movie series. Courtney, take it away.
Here are the nominees for the Best Animated Feature Film. Encanto,
Encanto.
Flea,
Yay.
Luca, The Mitchells vs. the Machine,
Yay.
and Raya and the Lost Dragon.
Yay. So pretty much what they predicted.
Well done.
Yay, yay, yay. So thanks to Titus, Courtney, and all those amazing students for joining us.
And now, here are the nominees for Achievement in Music Original Song. Be Alive from King Richard.
Dos Oruguitas from Encanto.
Yeah, remember, I
Down
gotta,
to Joy from Belfast.
No Time to Die from No Time to Die.
And Somehow You Do from 4 Good Days.
I don't know that at all, but it's Diane Warren, so I'm
Category
assuming
is
it's good.
Best Documentary Short. Oh, you're making me do the short category again.
I didn't do it. It wasn't me.
It was you. It was you. Here are the nominees for Best Documentary Short Subject. Audible, Lead Me Home,
Like the app.
The Queen of Basketball, 3 Songs for Ben Azir, and When We Were Bullies. And now, here are the nominees for Best Documentary Feature. Ascension, Attica,
Attica's
Flea,
supposed to be good.
Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised, and Writing with Fire.
Joining us from Times
I mean, it was
Square are
fine
New York's
as a
bravest
song. I
members
just don't
of the
know
Fire
best
Department of
song.
New York. At the microphone is fellow movie fan Lieutenant
No Time to Die
Thomas
is gonna win
Carrera,
it,
whose
so.
favorite movie is Goodfellas.
You mean a guy from New York, his favorite film is
Coming to you
Goodfellas?
live from Times Square, here are the nominees for achievement in visual effects. The envelope, please. Dune,
Dune,
Free
winner.
Guy,
Free Guy.
No
not
Time to
winner.
Die,
What?
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, Spider-Man, No Way Home.
No Time to Die.
Thank
I
you
don't
so much
understand that
to
for
all the
visual effects.
firefighters, paramedics, and EMTs for all that you do. I wave every time you drive by. I say, hello, firefighters. I really do. Next up, the nominees for Achievement in Cinematography. Dune, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story. And now, here are the nominees for Achievement in Production Design. Dune, Nightmare Alley, The Power of the Dog, The Tragedy of Macbeth, and West Side Story.
So it's the same ones.
Oh my God, Leslie, are you are you wearing something different again?
Just because I'm hunkered down doesn't mean I can't dress up.
Okay.
So here are the nominees for Best International Feature Film. Drive My Car, Japan. Flee, Denmark. The Hand of God, Italy. Luana, A Yak in the Classroom, Bhutan. And The Worst Person in the World, Norway.
Leslie, you keep stealing all my lines.
There's one for you.
Okay, thanks. Let's head to Ira Aldridge Theater at Howard University in Washington, D.C., where we have a special presenter. Felicia Rashad is Dean of the Chadwick A. Boseman College of Fine Arts and joins us with some of her students. Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
and
Jacob's
thank you,
here. How's the
Leslie and
internet?
Tracy, all of our students here are
I'm
so
not awake
inspired by
anymore,
Chadwick Boseman,
Jacob.
a Howard grad who was so committed to this university. And as you know, Chadwick was nominated last year for Best Actor, and we are so
Should have
honored
won.
to
Didn't.
announce the nominees in this category. Speaking on behalf of the students who are with us today is a senior who's receiving his BFA in acting, John Woods III.
Nah,
The nominees
it's gonna be
for
Dune,
performance by
John,
an
on the
actor in a leading
visuals.
role are Javier Bardem in Being the Ricardos, Benedict Cumberbatch in The Power of the Dog, Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom, Will Smith in King Richard, and Denzel Washington in The Tragedy of Macbeth.
Yes.
Yes. Well done. Beautiful. Thank you, Felicia and John and all of the students who joined us today.
And now, the nominees for performance by an actress in a leading role. Jessica Chastain in The Eyes of Tammy Faye.
Olivia Colman in The Lost Daughter.
Like 3 years in a row for her.
Penelope Cruz in Parallel Mothers.
Nicole Kidman in Being the Ricardos.
And Kristen Stewart in Spencer.
Good for her. Yay,
Just two more categories
fucking,
left.
what's her
This
face?
is so exciting. The
No,
first
Lady
is for
Gaga.
achievement in directing, and the nominees are Kenneth Branagh, Belfast.
Ryusuke Hamaguchi, Drive My Car.
I knew it. I knew it was gonna happen.
Paul Thomas Anderson, Licorice Pizza.
Good for
Jane
him, though.
Campion, The Power of the Dog.
And Steven Spielberg, West Side Story.
I
And
can't.
finally, the
Seems
big
Spielberg
one.
interesting.
Here are the nominees for Best Picture. Belfast, Laura Berwick, Kenneth Branagh, Becca Kovacic, and Tamar Thomas.
Hey,
producers.
Trip's here too. Yay.
Coda, Philippe Rousselet, Fabrice Giaffermi, and Patrick Waxberger, producer. Producers.
Don't Look
Producers.
Up, Adam McKay and Kevin Messick, producers.
Drive My Car,
Damn,
Teruhisa
nice.
Yamamoto, producer.
I need to see. We can now see this movie at AMC.
Dune, Mary
Yay.
Parent,
No Denis Villeneuve
Denis
for director.
Villeneuve, and Cale Boiter,
That's what he's.
producers.
King Richard, Tim White, Trevor White, and Will Smith, producers.
Licorice Pizza, Sarah Murphy, Adam Somner, and Paul Thomas Anderson, producers.
Nightmare Alley, Guillermo del Toro,
Wow.
J. Miles Dale,
They
and
love that
Bradley
Guillermo.
Cooper, producers.
The Power of the Dog, Jane Campion, Tanya
Hopefully, that's a little disappointing.
Segachian, Emil Sherman, Ian Canning, and Roger Frappier, producers.
And West Side Story, Steven Spielberg and Christy McCosco Krieger, producers.
Drive My Car. That's a pretty. I knew there'd be one shocker. I knew it was Drive My Car was going to get some
10
nominations.
great Best Picture nominees. Everybody, please make sure to watch the Oscars on March 27th on ABC and go to oscars.org to learn how you can vote to get your favorite movie and movie moment featured on this year's Oscar telecast.
It was so exciting to wake up with you, Tracy. I can't wait for Oscar night.
You're the best, Leslie. Oh, what a treat.
So, not a huge amount of like I would call surprises, but I keep going to the wrong screen again. I don't know why I'm doing that. Well, let's go to Best Picture. Like I said, the only thing they switched out is being the Ricardos, and they put in. I wish Tick Tick Boom got nominated. We put Drive My Car in there. West Side Story. I don't know. It's one of those things, Triv. It's just like I don't feel it needs to get nominated, but it is what it is. It's that type of movie. Thank God House of Gucci got like no nominations. I think it got like one for like costume design or something. No, it didn't even get costume design. Oh, makeup. Fine, give it to makeup. I don't care. Don't look up. What the hell? Yeah, it's honestly at this point, and this is how I've seen it. This is why I'm kind of a little despondent on the Oscars anymore. It's the same people over and over that get nominated. You always see like the Coens, or you see Guillermo del Toro, or Bradley Cooper has become, I think, 11 nominees in his career. And Bradley Cooper is an individual that was like with that Sandra Bullock movie, and he played the jock jerk in Wedding Crashers. So the fact that he's like a 10-time nominee now is crazy. Will Smith getting a double nomination. Oh, you're heading out, Jen? I think that's what you said. Yeah, Jen, thank you for coming on and moderating. I really do appreciate it. A lot of sexy taking your clothes off tweets or whatever, but have a good night. Wish you well. So, but like I said, best director. The fact that it went to the director of Drive My Car is pretty kind of surprising, because you figured they would go with Denis Villeneuve, which is kind of surprising that they didn't. But they went with Kenneth Branagh and Jane Campion. Paul Thomas Anderson, knock him out. Give it to Denis Villeneuve for Dune, because he directed the hell out of that. Steven Spielberg is just at this point, he just nominated for whatever. And best actor, let's see. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. Best actor: Will Smith, Benedict Cumberbatch. This is they pretty much predicted that what it was gonna be. I would have loved to see like Clifton Collins Jr. No Nicolas Cage, people. No Nicolas Cage. A little depressing on that one. I was a little not happy about that, but best actress. Thank God they didn't put Lady Gaga in there. So they put Jessica Chastain, which was interesting. Thought that was a pretty cool little nod there for her. Jessica Chastain's a very well-respected actress at this point. She's not going to win. It's probably going to go to Kristen Stewart, maybe Penelope Cruz, if they're frisky, I guess you could say. But we'll see what happens. And Olivia Colman, third nomination in 3 years. She won for The Favorite. I mean, I don't know. She's been nominated like quite a few times now. All right, John, man. Have a safe one day. Hopefully I can get those Batman tickets. So, best supporting actor. And I'll probably do a video on this, like doing my actual prediction of winners. So I'll talk about it a little bit more. But Tony Kassir, could even Smith McPhee, or the front runners to win. Kieran Hines could. Be in there. J.K. Simmons. I mean, anybody in this category could win, but it's most likely Kieran Hines or Troy Kassir for the best actor nominee. So, yeah, she did. She got nominated for best actress, so she's up there. Thank God it wasn't. That's the one I was worried was going to get knocked out for Lady Gaga. So, best supporting actress was kind of surprising because I went to Jessie Buckley, which I was not expecting her to ever get nominated, but here she is. Angelina Ellis, Ariana DeBose probably gonna win it. Judi Dench over Kate Blanchett. I could see. I mean, that's fine. Whatever. Kirsten Dunst, Judi Dench. I don't know. We'll see. But Kirsten Dunst was always gonna get nominated. Angelina Ellis. And that's pretty much where it sits. Like I said, Drive My Car got a lot of nominations. I think it got 1, 2. Dune actually didn't get as many nominations as I was expecting. So 3. I mean, it's very rare that a foreign film or international film, as they say, will get nominated for Best Picture as well. But they're trying to be, PC in these days. So I don't know. Like I said, it's pretty standard. The best animated short didn't go to what was that? To Us Again, which was pretty surprising. The windshield wiper, I heard is really good, so I'm gonna have to check that out. But other than that, there really wasn't too much. Like the documentary and live action shorts, I don't know much about. Flea got it 3 nominations, which is a I can't remember what the word's called. It's like one of those. It's like a history-making animated documentary and what was it? Foreign film documentary, animated foreign. Did it get documentary? Yes. So it got 3 different nominations in 3 different categories, which was pretty interesting. What's that? Ever since they got praised for awarding Parasite, yeah. But people love Parasite, so I get it. I understand why they do it. They're trying to be more rounded, I guess you could say. But sometimes you got to pick the best people, and sometimes I think they just pick the people they know. It's like best song, put the song from Annette in there, the one at the beginning with the Sparks brothers or whatever, and they didn't do that, and I don't know. Like not giving Denis Villeneuve a Best Director nomination is a travesty because I don't even think they did that for Arrival when it came out or when it was nominated for Best Picture. And I'm trying. You're driving that car. We should nominate you for driving that car. Oh man, we should nominate the Fifth Dimension podcast for best podcast ever made on television or in YouTube's. Give it a Best Picture nomination. That's what I think. So, I don't know. Like I said, that's I need somebody to drive my car. But yeah, it's I want to be like shocked that they went the way they did, but when you see us like Being the Ricardos, thank God Being the Ricardos didn't get nominated for best picture and stuff like that. Drive My Car is this 3-hour retrospective reflection movie from Japan about I don't know the whole history, but it's like a guy loses his wife or loses something. He drives around in Japan. I don't know. I hear it's really, really good. I hear it's really, really long. I don't know much about it. I mean, heck, you know what? Let's just look it up on IMDb because I don't want to be wrong. Drive My Car. This is the one film you can't find anywhere because they haven't released it. After his wife's unexpected death, Yusuke Kafuku, a renowned stage actor and director, receives an offer to direct a production of Uncle Vanya in Hiroshima. There he begins to face the haunting mysteries his wife left behind. I hear it's really good. Nominated for only 3 Oscars? Oh, 4. I got more than that. Let's see. Actually, let me look up Dune. Let me look what Dune got. Dune, directed by Denis Villeneuve. Just look up what he's done. Oh yeah, we got nominated for 1 Oscar. Oh, he did get a directing Oscar for Arrival. My bad. I'm wrong about that. They must have not updated this. Let's see for what got most. God, if Don't Look Up got the most nominations, I'm gonna be disappointed. It's pretty evenly widespread. It's not like one movie got the most. Yeah, you know what? I think Power of the Dog got the most nominations this year. It got a lot of nomination. I think that's the one that's going to be the big winner this year. It's either that or goddamn Mass didn't get shit. I'm mad about that. Mass didn't get a single nomination. I'm so mad about that. Didn't get it for acting. It didn't get for screenwriting. It didn't get for anything. It's like, oh, we're gonna give Don't Look Up the most nominations, and then we're not gonna give anything to Mass. Whatever. It's my favorite movie of last year. Same thing with like 9 Days. I think what's his name should have got nominated, Winston Duke, but I don't know. All right, I think that's gonna do it for me. It's been a long day and gotta wait for those Batman tickets. If anybody's on stream or wondering, they're doing a Batman fan screening on the 1st of March. If you go to this website, it's thebatman.com IMAX screening. So most of you guys' cities are close to it. I'm excited. Hopefully you guys are excited too for it. So with that said, that'll do it. That'll be my watch of the live stream of the Oscars. I appreciate you coming on. All the people I know, I appreciate you coming on as well. I know Triv and Jacob, you're probably really tired, you know, like me, only getting like 2 or 3 hours of sleep because we recorded last night for the new episode of The Fifth Dimension, which is a podcast you should listen to. I definitely would recommend it because it is fantastic. And it is fun. And this new episode, when it releases next Monday, I think is one of our funniest. So there you go. Anyways, that'll do it. That'll be my Oscar streaming live, whatever you want to call it. There are other channels that are going to do way longer streams than I will. Definitely check some of them out because they're, you know, they go much more in depth. But for me, that's going to do it. So thank you so much for checking out my live stream. I really do appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Like I said, hit up the subscribe button, all that good stuff. So yeah, Jacob doesn't sleep. That's true. He definitely doesn't sleep. I can tell you that much. That's why he drives when he goes. So anyways, thank you so much. Like I said, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, notification button, all that good stuff. Check out our Fifth Dimension podcast. Triv and Jacob are in this podcast, so definitely check that out. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time for the Oscar wins or whatever you want to call it. So peace out, guys.